place, right? They got rid of the Ursa, they got rid of the Troll. Just not wanting to be up against those because they can actually contest the Alchemist. Whereas right now, NoPing don't really have an obvious solution to what they're going to run up against the Alch. Well, they've got to make a pick soon, so...
They're kind of constrained already by cooldowns here. Tidehunter DP on the same team means Ravage and... Wow, Ravage and Exorcism are big timers. They go back to the Dusa. Now, to be fair, I don't think the way HFN plays it isn't just that kind of AFK farming Dusa. Like, we saw him go SNY, and he was ready to run around. It's just that he had no reason to run around early on in that game. The one time Undying jumped him ended up with him living true, so he just didn't die at all. And that was a 4-man rotation in. So I don't necessarily fault NoPing for going back to the Dusa. It's such a comfort pick for HFN. I do worry about playing around these two timers. Ravage and Exorcism, they need to take team fights around these spells and then take objectives immediately while HFN is still farming. So much more importance in those first 10 minutes here for NoPing, and Undying do have a lineup that can punish. Once you pop those spells, Undying's just going to look to run and gun you once more because they don't have to wait for anything that long. So we'll see if NoPing finds a way to hit these timings. Well, it's also looking like perhaps a support DP, as you mentioned. And DP plus Keeper of the Light as a support duo doesn't sound like the strongest. They lack a lot of control on NoPing's side. Undying has that in spades with the Witch Doctor and the Earth Spirit. So it's looking a lot better for Undying. This is the kind of aggressive draft that should fit their playstyle a lot more. NoPing, this last pick has to really fill in the gaps. Like, you want something with control. You want something without too much downtime to buy that Medusa some space here.
I'm going to say I really like Undying's draft a lot more in this game number 2. In comparison to NoPing's draft, I just don't think NoPing's going to be able to keep up with the draft of Undying. And I mean, mind you, in game 1, I would have told you NoPing probably had the better draft anyway, but, you know, being up against Undying, it's kind of hard to say that. This time, I can confidently say that I think Undying's draft is way better, at least in terms of pacing. Obviously, if this Alchemist falls apart or falls behind, you're going to have a lot of problems. You've still got to watch out for HFN, naturally. You've got to make sure he can't just freely farm the whole game. But I don't think Undying is intending on allowing it to go that far anyway. We've seen them run the Alchemist before to great effect as well. So they are kind of, you know, proven and tested with this Alchemist. Still NoPing, final pickup. Maybe this kind of throws a bit of a spanner in the works. Who knows? They'll go for the Tiny again. So running the support DP, it looks like, and just play the mid Tiny once again. You are going to need someone to set the tempo here for NoPing. The Tiny should be able to do a decent enough job. The only problem I see is if Dark Mago doesn't have a good game, then you're really kind of screwed.
Yeah, you need a Tiny to go off to that running start. Now, his matchup against the SF did end up quite well for him, and the SF had a lot of ways to play around. He had raises, he had superior right click once you get a couple of levels into your soul. So I think the Tiny had a matchup that wasn't necessarily favorable anyway in the first place, and Dark Mago came out on top. This time around, Undying need to really give Brawl something to play with, like something that comes online quick and runs around, although that should probably just be the Puck lane. So Tiny against Puck is pretty good for the Puck, all things considered, but we have seen Tiny still maintain that farming pace. You just have so much wave clear with your Avalanche, with your Tree Grab, that you don't necessarily feel too threatened by the Puck, and you have some ways to play around it. So there's a bit of a back and forth on mid already, Undying. We'll have to see how they do close it out, but they have made their draft a lot more playable in that first game. They should have ways to control up HFN, to control up that offlane matchup that they had trouble with, and they go with the Razor as well. So a really good targeted pick up against Medusa. They've got ways to just drain away, sap away HFN's damage, and take control there, and it's looking better for Undying here in game 2.
Yep.
NoPing, they are constrained by these cooldowns. You've got the DP support. Exorcism needs to come out in a timely manner. Oscar has to get some pretty good Ravages here, as you do sort of lack control. If they do line up their spells from NoPing, Ravage plus Stone Gaze is pretty devastating, and if Dark Mago hits that same blink timing we saw last time, could be hard for Undying to find space to open up here.
With that, John, I'll go ahead and answer this first, because I do think Undying has the better draft. But I'd like to ask you what you think. Are you kind of with NoPing this time? Are you with Undying this time in terms of drafts? What are you thinking?
If it's down to draft, just purely on draft, Undying does have a lot of answers here. They've got better aggression early on, better laning presence that can come out. NoPing are constrained to these big cooldowns that makes it hard to play if you don't manage to line those spells up. So it's easier to pull off what Undying has on hand, but if NoPing stalls out long enough, I mean, the Medusa is a natural Scotty carrier. You can easily build into Shivas as well to counteract the Alchemist. So they've got some answers on hand. But if Undying take way too strong of a grip here, I can see what NoPing did in Game 1 happening to them here from Undying this time. So definitely looking a lot better for Undying. NoPing, I mean, they were confident going into HFN's hero. So they've got shows that the confidence is not misplaced here on the Medusa.
Well, I think NoPing should be very confident after that Game 1 for sure. I think Undying probably going to be a little bit upset about how that Game 1 went, and of course, looking to try and get a bit of vengeance here in Game 2. Maybe just a bit overly confident in that Game 1. See if they can turn this series around and force a tie. NoPing certainly looking very, very good to get things started. It's been a long time since we've had a game end that quick, I've got to say. I mean, it's been a very long time. That was early. I can't remember the exact time, but it feels like it was 12, 13 minutes into the game. And that was it.
It was 14:49. Exactly 14:49 when they tapped out. So it was a quick one. Sub 15. That doesn't happen very often. And Undying, hopefully they've shaken themselves out of it. You know, it looks like they are confident this time with their picks. It looked like they might have been trying to experiment. I mean, you mentioned it, right? Like Moon Meander had words about SF in the NADPC. And all right, Saberlight. Good.
Saberlight's a nice guy. Love me some Saberlight.
Oh yes. He's playing a really bully of a hero, though. This Razor last pick is not going to make things easy for HFN. Like, you pointed it out, but this is such a good pick to counteract what the Medusa wants to do. She just wants to sit back, farm up, static link her, and that all falls apart. So, a lot more presence here from Saberlight. Should be able to contest that farm. Of course, he does have Moon Meander with him on the bot lane. So, it's the Earth Spirit Razor, and that is really aggressive. Like, you get a good roll in, you get a good kick back. You can really sap away at the Medusa early on. HFN's going to have to watch his spacing. And with a support DP5 down there, it's such a mixed bag. Like, you do have the Spirit Siphon to stand in front and maybe sap away some HP and take some of that aggression off. But it's not the strongest pause 5 in terms of presence. So it's a lot more passive here for NoPing, and that should be something Undying can punish down bot.
Yeah, I mean, the Spirit Siphon's nice and all, but Pandabu's not going to get that much XP priority as they roll in already. Moon Meander. Very aggressive roll in. Saberlight, maybe a second late there with the static link, and I think they would have preferred to get the static link off first. Either way, just getting that damage is going to feel very nice for the Razor. I don't think Pandabu's going to be able to do much. I mean, Spirit Siphon, again, it's a nice skill, but you need levels up in it for it to do anything, and quite frankly, at the early levels, it doesn't really feel like it does much. And I don't think she's really going to want to contest Saberlight too much. Though, as I say that, Pandabu's rolling up now. But he's not going to be able to continue the chase. Moon Meander tried to roll in to stop the chase, but it was completely whiffed. Nevertheless, top lane, Dubu is getting very low on the Witch Doctor right now. It's like Matthew was trying to chase him down on the Coddle, but we'll have to leave him be, and of course he will be able to salve up on that Witch Doctor. You've also got Tomato and Oscar up against each other. Of course, for now, Oscar's job will be to slow down Tomato as much as possible. Though, I'm going to say, Tidehunter versus Alk, while you can be annoying with the Anchor Smash, I don't really feel like you're slowing down the Alk that much. As I say that...
Certainly not, no.
Yeah, they run him down now. I've cursed him real nicely. Tomato gonna have to run away, and he's going to be fine. So never mind. I guess they can slow him down.
I mean, the Alchemist, if he gets pushed back, only has to toss out the acid spray, but that's not the ideal. You still need to get in there for the last hits. Oscar can kind of slow down that process by getting off the Anchor Smash. When it comes to trades, it's a melee hero up against a Tidehunter. It's still not the best situation for Tomato, even if he has ways to play around it.
Well, Illuminate does
And,
not connect. That would have been a guaranteed death there on Tomato. He is taking a lot of damage though. Okay, we don't want that to happen again. Tomato ends up dying. Dubu had no salves on him, so he could not provide the regen. The courier was on the way with the salve. They just could not wait. Meanwhile, bot lane, they are trying to make the jump onto HFN. He's trying to man fight this, but Moon Meander should have control. Mana Shield will go up though, and HFN just going to slowly back his way out. Still going, but Pandaboo is right behind him now. Moon Meander must feel confident with his roll away, but it gets blocked. And now he may have found himself overextending a little bit. Luckily, HFN doesn't have the Mystic Snake, so they probably aren't going to finish the kill. But that was a bit too close for comfort.
It definitely was. Just so much aggression in these side lanes. And can give a look down mid, which we haven't popped back to in a while. Dark Mago up against Brawl now starting to develop 18-2. Brawl 17-2. So it's a lot more even here. And the power runes are much more important as well for both sides this time. So far, though, Brawl is maintaining this lane a lot better. This could be where the game really changes for Undying. Giving Brawl a hero he can be active on, he can actually start rotating on once he's level 6, is going to be really important for the side of Undying, especially since they need relief, right? Like the side lanes, it's not going smoothly still. HFN is still finding some good farm, although he's lagging behind compared to Tomato. But Tomato has died one time more than HFN has, so it's still not ideal.
Mumianda making the rotation in. He filled up the bottle of Bryle, and double damage rune's going to be picked up. Now the roll in, but Dark Mago does avoid it. Still a nice boulder smash there from Mumianda, but the avalanche is going to be enough to stop them from the chase. Or is it? Orb forward. There was a kill down a bot lane onto Pandaboo, but Brawl has kept going onto Dark Mago. Eventually just backing off. And going back in again. Brawl not done yet, but the orb does not connect. Boulder Smash is there. Dark Mago does finally go down. They would not leave the poor man alone.
I mean, that's what they have to do. They have to prevent Dark Mago from hitting that blink timing we saw.
Bryle. That Illuminate. It looked like it touched the model of the puck, but he got the phase shift off in time, and Bryle is going to survive.
Yeah, just on the edge, but they're getting the aggression they want on mid. That's what they need to do. Stop Dark Mago from hitting his blink timings. Have to point out as well, I mean, we have seen Pandaboo be really aggressive and could cost him here.
Yeah, he's gone. Try to get the bounty. Moon Meander is going to be able to take it anyway. And so far, it looks a lot better already for Undying. NoPing are still doing a pretty decent job, though. Like, you look at Tomato, he's got 20 CS, which is still pretty nice. But they are starting to bring more heroes up to really apply the pressure. Now they got a nice avalanche. Toss back, though, Dark Mago. It's a level 1 toss back, so you've got to get the range perfect. Matthew, unfortunately, was 1 or 2 steps away. That should have been a guaranteed kill on Tomato, but slight error, and it does cost them.
Yeah, a bit of a wasted rotation out. Dark Mago not getting as much value. That gives Bryle a lot more presence now. Has the level 6 up on the puck, and they should be set to contest these runes as well, or just go for the kill.
Yeah, why not? He just returned into the lane. You may as well just take him out. There's your coil now. The Tiny has nowhere to go. He'll try to fight back a little bit. He can't do it. Meanwhile, Matthew, he took the illusion rune away from Bryle, but now he's going to be in a spot of trouble. Luckily, Brawl did not have any mana left. Meduba even still chasing him down, but they got what they came for. They should be happy. And as well as that, look down at bot lane, John. Saberlight was going for a bit of a dive there onto HFN. He eventually cuts it out. And now Pandaboo's going to go for a chase on the Razor. This could pan out a bit badly if Saberlight has the static link up again, but no, he'll just TP out. He's not willing to risk it. He's playing it nice and safe. That'll mean a 1-4 now, the way of Undying.
Yeah, it's a smoother start for them. They're still finding what they want from most of these lanes. Top lane is still pretty tricky, but Tomato is again still steadily farming up, and All things considered, this is still a really good pace for Yalk, right? This is a tough lane against the Tide, but they have forced the supports to run around, so Matthew's just trying to build up stacks for Dark Mago to clear out. He is going to be able to get those stacks out and start to build into that blink, but if you leave your Tide alone like that, he just dies.
Nice kill there from Dubu. Moon Meander helping out, of course, on the Earth Spirit. While all this is happening, Dark Mago has been taking some stacks in the triangle to try and really catch up and get his Blink Dagger a bit earlier. It's certainly helping him out, because he is trying to rush the Blink. Bot lane, though, Saberlight kills off Pandavu, and now HFN's going to go down, and... well, Undying's definitely hitting their timing now, John. I mean, you can see how dominant they are with this draft. This was to be expected. You'd expect this to only get worse now for NoPing.
Yeah, they need to slow down, try to hit that timing on the Tiny to get their own aggression up. They need some levels up as here on the supports. Pandabu needs Exorcism up for them to really play around and commit the Ravage for a big team fight. But they're not going to be able to find that space. They're going to lose their bot tier 1 here. Saberlight just getting that shove in. So the map's shrinking already, but they could look for a move up. I suppose they are dragging HFN up there. They've got Stone Gaze up if they want to play.
They're going to try. Ravage is going to connect on 2. They've got Tomato, but Dreamcore has been dropped, and Tomato is going to survive with the Chemical Rage, and now they'll turn it right back around onto Oscar. The Tide is going to be dying first. Silence, however, from Pandabu, going to lock down Bryle, but maybe not for long. He'll Fairy Fire, Phase Shift still running. They do finally get the kill, but now HFN's in trouble. He'll get the Stone Gaze off, and that's going to be enough to stop the chase. At least on him, but not on Pandabu. Not quite yet. But there we go. They do eventually back out. And while it did cost them the Tide, they at least got a puck for their trouble.
Yeah, I think that's a lot better for NoPing. The kills coming out there. HFN was around to so if they forced a rotation out as well. So they're buying some space out for Dark Mago down mid because they're not able to respond to that Tiny and gank him up. And overall, it's keeping NoPing in the game. 2-8, 2k lead up for Undying. A lot smoother for them. You're seeing Tomato manage to save up for that Battle Fury build. Should be up soon. And they just smoke up. Saberlight's level 7. He is a beast right now on the Razor.
Here we go. HFN, no Stone Gaze up. Can they catch him? Plasma Filter's there. Static Link to connect. Dubu gets the cask off. Matthew gonna TP in and try and help out. But they've got no mana left on that Dusa. And Saberlight just gonna be ripping her to shreds. Now the toss back though. They got the Razor and they're gonna get Dubu for this. So all in all, not too bad. Braul's gonna commit the Dream Core to make sure he can get this bounty rune before he does leave. And that will mean 3 bounty runes in the end for Undying as well at the 10-minute mark. But I think as long as you're killing this Medusa, I think you're pretty happy for Undying.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the kill they want. They're slowing down the Medusa's farm up. They are giving a bit more to Dark Mago. That blink we've been talking about is only 200 gold away. So there's going to be a major spike here for NoPing once that's up. Have to be careful about giving kills away to that Tiny because it can be pretty devastating. They might get a good rotation onto Tomato.
Yeah, this will be massive. They already popped the Exorcism. Toss in onto the DP. Tomato, though, he's running quite fast. He's got the phase boots up. Can they get in range for an avalanche? Well, they'll get the slow first. Tomato, still no help coming in. He needs something. Avalanche is going to be there, and they do get the kill. Looks like they focused on making sure the Tide ended up dying top lane instead of helping with the rotation. Because Saberlight could not TP, and neither could Dubu. In fact, nobody could. Everyone's TP is basically on cooldown. They roll in instead mid lane, going after HFN, and that'll be a massive return pickup if they can get it. Moon Meander with the Magnetize doing quite a bit of damage, but there's your Stone Gaze out. With the Mana Shield, the Medusa is going to be able to run, and Bryle is in a little bit of trouble. And speaking of, so is Moon Meander, as he does end up dying to Dark Mago. The nice gank attempt on HFN, but it does look like they needed a +1 to really secure the kill.
Yeah, just a bit keen. And now you have this blink up in Dark Mago, so he reveals it with that kill on Moon. There is a smoke out from Undying, though. They want to secure this top lane, and Oscar is the sitting duck. He does have Ravage. He needs teammates around to maximize this, and without them, it's kind of useless.
Bit of a static link. Getting a bit of bonus damage for that tier 1 tower. A lot of people rotating it to this top lane to try and defend it. They seem to really enjoy punishing Oscar this game. Maybe because of what he did last game on the Timber. Just making sure he's not having a good time, but as your initiation, Avalanche Toss is there on the Witch Doctor. Zubu just healing up, Dreamcore gonna be committed, Ravage is there, connecting on 3, and they've got all 5 heroes up at this top lane. Death Ward down though, Dubu's holding them back with that Death Ward. He is gonna kill, no, they won't get the Tiny, they will kill off Saberline on the side of NoPing. And somehow Dark Mago survives on 100 HP. The Razor will go down. And that'll be enough for NoPing, but Moon Meander rolling back into the tower. He can't get it, however. It's going to be denied. And he's gone. I mean, I guess it's worth a shot. I guess.
Yeah, it was risky, but it doesn't pay off, and you are starting to see some answers here from NoPing. They are hitting their timings. HFN already has the Yasha, so we'll see what else he itemizes into, maybe going back to that SNY build. The Blink for Dark Mago has been pivotal as well for him to jump in, set these fights up. Now he has his phase root, so he can gap close a lot easier in terms of running up. And you've got the levels on your supports. Matthew's level 7, Panda Boo's level 7. They still have Exorcism if they want to play, although without Ravage, you're not going to be looking to force a big team fight. But Undying have also hit some pretty good timings here as well. They've got the Battle Fury up on Timado. He is up at 6.3k net. We're at about 700 ahead of the Medusa, so this is just set to escalate even more, just because Alka is really the king of the jungle for the most part. And you do have to watch yourself there.
Breaks the smoke there onto Dark Mago. They're going to turn right back around for an Avalanche Toss. Exorcism there. Tomato going to try and fight back. He's taking a lot of damage from this. He'll eventually back up. Now Dark Mago copping the Death Ward there from Dubu. Still chasing down Tomato, however they are. The Alchemist is trying to run. Dreamcore going to save the day. Just locking them down. But the Ghost, they are not done chasing Tomato. He is barely going to survive. Just barely. Oh boy, Tomato just really clenching the butt cheeks there for a second. But eventually does get himself out. A very nice Dream Coil there from Brio. That's a 3-for-0 trade, John.
Yeah, that was very deep from NoPing. They did want that kill on Tomato, but they need to really drag more bodies up. Undying are ready to defend that Alchemist at any case, although Saberlight gonna get poked a bit, but nah, not gonna really commit. No Ravage up. They do have the mana now, but it could be awkward without the rest of the team here.
Could be. HFN still just calmly farming up on the Medusa. He's actually not too far behind the Alk. It's not like Tomato's really escalated that far. He's really only got the Battle Fury up right now. So it is still a bit of a slow process here for this Alchemist. And that's definitely not great news for Undying, even if they are looking like they're winning this game. I think you need a bit bigger of a lead here on this Alk to really be able to force this game to finish earlier than the Medusa comes online.
Yeah, they need to hold on to this mid tower. They do have their spells up. The Ravage is up as well from Oscar, so you have to be cautious about clumping up here.
Toss is there. They've got Saberlight. Avalanche out. Saberlight look like he's about to die. Ravage out as well, connecting on all 4 heroes. Saberlight already basically dead, but he's still trying to run. He might make it out. The Blinding Light, it knocked him away. But the Illuminate does fly through. They do get him into Oscar now, but he's surviving. Stone Gaze is there from HFN to make sure they can't get the Tide. Brio is trying to run, and it looks like he might just make it out. And it's going to end up being a 1-for-1. Dark Mako does die, but so does Saberlight. Seems like the Tiny may be a bit more of an impactful kill there. But HFN is going to try and make this team fight go their way by taking that tier 1 mid tower. Only problem being though, he's been rolled on now and he's out of mana. But Dark Mago is back up and does get an avalanche toss onto Brio. Back into Moon Meander. They'll find a double. Great turnaround there from NoPing. And that'll be the tier 1 mid tower finally going down. And that net worth lead that Undying had, John, it's down to 1k now. And I know I already said this, but with an Alchemist, that is not great news.
No, it's really not. I mean, Tomato is still finding that farm, but you are seeing Brawl and Saberlight start to take hits to enable the Alchemist here. And so this investment needs to pay off. NoPing for their part. HFN is still finding farm. Dark Mago is slightly ahead of Brawl, so you're setting a good pace here on the Tiny. He is saving up for the Echo Saber as well, so even more burst damage coming through. What Undying needs to do is kill off Matthew. Matthew is the big issue here, and that's because he can just chakra HFN. So you might see HFN low mana, suddenly he has 340. And that's a lot more EHP coming out for the Medusa every single time the refill it's up. That's also enough mana for him to spam out the Mystic Snake if he's in range. Just so much more durability with Nat Keeper for the Light Alive. So I think Undying, if they want to take these fights, need to kill off that squishy Kotal. And it looks like they do plan to do that now.
Yeah, Undying. Matthew gonna break the smoke. HFN gonna be around. Roll, no. Blinding Light gonna knock him back. They will still be able to get the cask into the Death Ward. Even committing the Dream Coil just in case. That'll be it now. The coil's down for another minute or so, so NoPing would feel quite safe for that amount of time. And in fact, Dark Mago is going to come in. Panda Boo there as well with the silence, but they don't actually make the jump in. Cask out, still Avalanche Toss onto 3. Bro about to die, but Ravage is there. It lands on everyone. Dark Mago gonna run away, and they will kill off Bryle, and that is really a great Ravage out from Oscar, as they will now go back onto Saberline. He's just trying to TP. He will make it out, but Dubu will not on the Witch Doctor, and it's gonna end up being a 2-for-0 trade. And they got so close to killing off Dark Mago on the Tiny, but just not quite getting there. And John, I'd hate to keep going back to the net worth, but you look at HFN, you look at the Alk Tomato, it is pretty close.
It is really close. It's too close for Undying right now. Tomato's just not getting enough off the map, and he is starting to widen that gap. 11k up against 9.6 on HFN, so it is widening a bit. But look at HFN's itemization. He's just rushing a butterfly now, and that means the hits you're getting with the Razor, with the Alk, are not going to land, and Tomato's not itemized to counteract that. Of course, our Razor is not going to be itemizing to counteract that evasion. Keep in mind, HFN also went for his evasion talent, so he is pretty much like a PA with the total evasion he will have once these items build up, and that's going to be a huge boost to his EHP. Undying, they've been trying to play this aggressive game. They found a couple of pickoffs, but it's not in the big targets. Like, yeah, you find Matthew, but you don't want to solo pick off Matthew. You want to kill him in a team fight and then kill off HFN after, and that's just not lining up so far for Undying.
Oh, Oscar going to be able to get the bounty room, but it may cost him his life. 4-staff out for now is going to work, but Moon Meander, another nice roll in, is going to connect. Now the double Spirit Soul Siphons into the Exorcism. Going to be popped here. And a recall in from Matthew. They need to kind of do something now with this Exorcism. But it looks like it's going to amount to nothing. I guess luckily with a position 5 DP, you don't feel as much need to do something with that level 1 Exorcism. You just kind of have to let it be.
Yeah, it's not the biggest loss, and they can start setting eyes elsewhere on the map, and of course, with Matthew with a recall, you can just jump back to camps after the lanes. You can look for a push. There's that butterfly. So HFN is just going to be hitting like a truck. And you can't hit him. 35% evasion plus 15% evasion talent. That leads to a total of 45%. So it's basically like a PA with max blur. This is going to be an issue handling that Medusa until you have something like an MKB coming through.
T1 mid tower though, can be taken out by Undying, but you'd have to argue that HFN's already got enough farm that he doesn't care about that mid tier 1 anymore. He can confidently pretty much farm wherever he wants now, without the fear of really getting ganked too hard and dying. The Tomato, you're still farming better, but it's an Alchemist. This is to be expected. Now Roshan started. NoPing, just no fear at all. I don't blame them. It seems like a free Roshan take for them.
Yeah, it's not the quickest. Their damage isn't as amazing as you'd expect. but the Roche is still set to fall. They were under a ward when they entered, so there should be some awareness from Undying, but they're not quite in the position to contest just yet. And this is going to be a pretty big pickup. 2 lives in HFN gives him a lot more presence in these fights. They do get the scan out, so they could try for a roll in here with Moon.
Well, they are around Undying. They've made their presence known. They force them out of the pit. Tomato's going to TP up on the Ark as well. They seem to be confident enough to go for a fight. And in all fairness, NoPing probably has not seen the Ark farm in a very long time. It's hard to know what to expect from their end of things. Tomato does have a 10-second BKB up, so that's going to definitely help in this team fight. Gonna try and loop around into the Radiant Triangle. Now Matthew gonna get picked off immediately. His unstable concoction is there. Ravage out. Oscar connecting on 4 again. They're gonna kill Moon Meander. Now the Dream Call out, but is it gonna be enough? Look at this DP, just siphoning everybody, but he is gonna get surrounded. Pandaboo dies. Dark Mag goes in onto Saberlight, but the Avalanche toss is not gonna be enough. HFN, he'll come right back in. He still has the Stone Gaze. He has not popped it. He will finally get the chance to do so, but it will do nothing. They'll get Dubu, but that's about it. Dubu's going to buy back immediately. And it looks like Undying is still not going to allow this Roshan to happen. But Dark Mago, Avalanche toss, Saberlight. Gonna lose his life. Unstable concoction, he lands, and Bryle has taken the Aegis. He does manage to swipe it away. Avalanche toss is there, however, and they will be able to take him with the Illuminate. That'll be the first life. Tomato going in onto Oscar, trying to get rid of the Tide. He is still alive with that Force Staff, just running away. While HFN is trying to chase everyone else down. Tomato trying to find a target. He goes on to Matthew, but the Avalanche toss is there again. Moon Meander now just trying to run away. As they are back on the chase. NoPing just looking a bit too healthy, but here comes Tomato. A secondary time. They kill off Dark Mago. Onto HFN now. The Dream Call is there onto 2. Do they have enough though? HFN, he's still very healthy. He'll get the tieback onto the Witch Doctor, and now Moon Meander will also go down. And I think you'd still have to say NoPing won that out. They lost the Aegis, which is the most unfortunate part, but in terms of team fight, they don't really look like they're being contested too hard.
No, I mean, they've managed to force 2 charges out from that BKB on Tomato, so it's down to 8 seconds now. And they can't scratch HFN. They absolutely can't touch this Medusa. That's the biggest issue. Even with a BKB on your Alk, you cannot melt the Medusa. You can't even melt the Tide Hunter all too well with just a Force Staff. So some issues abound. Maybe they get the punishment onto Pandaboo.
Yeah, I think they will. Pandaboo lost his TPs on the courier there. He's healing up very fast with that Spirit Siphon, but it's not going to matter. Surely it does not matter. Static Link comes out now from Saberlight. They will eventually get the kill, and now an Unstable Concoction onto Matthew. He will manage to Force Staff away in time. So you lost your POS 5 DP. Took a long time though.
Yeah, it's a really durable hero now with all the charges you have with max level Spirit Siphon. So far, the lead is building up here for Undying. You're seeing Tomato really pull ahead. 1.19k net worth versus 15. So the gap is wide enough that there's 1 item between these 2 heroes. It doesn't feel like 1 item is enough, though. They have to be careful about when they force these fights. Every single time Undying jumps in and Oscar has Ravage, it's a very hard fight to follow up on. And NoPing, despite this kind of deficit, are still looking good. Once Dark Mago has a BKB, they're going to be able to still take control with a Tiny, jump in, not worry too much about the control and damage coming out from the Earth Spirit and Witch Doctor. And they can just keep cleaning up. And even HFN, he's almost at the MKB. So his physical damage is just going to be really insane. Tomato is itemizing to counteract that with an AC. So there's a lot more armor coming through for Undying, which could be an issue for HFN, as we kind of saw him tickle the Alchemist. It didn't feel like his damage was all too impactful yet. There's that MKB.
Bryle trying to go in onto Dark Mago. Because Brawl does have the Ethereal Blade up. He's trying to burst somebody down, but he doesn't quite have enough damage right now. Big smoke up here from NoPing. They left the neutral item on the ground. That's a mind breaker, so Dark Mago is going to have to run and get it back. Well, the rest of his team continue to smoke through the Radiant side jungle, but they don't have their Tiny with them now. So I'm not sure smoking for a gank is the greatest idea without that Tiny combo. And it looks like they aren't going to go much further. They get some deep wards down, and that's going to be about it. Meanwhile, Undying will continue to bide their time to try and secure more farm on their Alk. I'm still not feeling too confident about the level of farm right now in Tomato, though. Yeah, he's looking strong, but it doesn't look Alchemist strong.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 10k lead over NoPing, so Tomato might not look the biggest, but their other cores are starting to pull ahead slightly over Oscar and Dark Mago. So that is the bright side. However, Dark Mago with a BKB should, again, be able to stand in front as a Tiny now, not worry too much about the reactions here from Undying. And NoPing are just confident enough to play this slow. They're playing safe. They're trying to farm the BKB on HFN. And once you have that BKB, without any control for the Medusa, you're going to have some issues there. She can just stand back, get the hits off, get the Stone Gaze off every single time. And it's going to be a really big back and forth, especially since Undying also have these BKBs lined up. Saberlight not going to be immediately bursted down and focused down. Should be able to get off the links a couple more times in these fights. Maybe even have that Eye of the Storm running as well.
They're going to fight here down to the spot side of the jungle. Tomato jumps in. BKB's popped already. They're going to try and go after Moon Meander first. Tomato, however, already killing off Matthew. So the Coddle's gone again. Undying looking for a bit more now. Going to roll in onto the DP. Dream Coil is going to be committed just on her, but HFN does have a Stone Gaze he can pop. He'll commit it eventually, but backs off. Saberlight going to be able to get the kill before he does get stoned up. Oscar looking for a Ravage, but can't get one off yet. Just waiting out the BKBs, but they were a bit too long of a duration. So they lost both of their supports here, NoPing, and they will not get much out of it.
Yeah, it's a good set of pickoffs for Undying, and they did manage to at least force out the Stone Gaze, so there's a minute where HFN's going to be very vulnerable if he's not careful.
Off back. Ravage is there, they got Brile. It's a great start, but that is a great cast there from Duba. Look at the damage coming out with the Death Ward, just killing the Tiny by himself. Now they roll in as well. Saberlight after HFN taking so much damage away. With the Plasma Field, it's back onto Matthew. They'll get the Keeper, and now they've got the Medusa controlled up all on her own. HFN cannot fight back and is eventually going to die.
That was way too aggressive coming out from NoPing. They tried to jump forward without the rest of their heroes. They did find a kill on Brile, but losing your Medusa like this is not good. You have to respect the static link from Saberlight. They didn't have enough Force Staffs to bail out HFN this time around. Just had no damage to play with, and that is going to be the consistent issue now for the Medusa if you don't manage to get that spacing right. So Undying managing to clear out the tier 2 from that, widen their lead up to 17k. They are bouncing back stronger here. There's basically a 10k gap between Tomato and HFN. Tomato is queuing up the Divine, so he just wants to have that up to deal with the Medusa evasion. Could pay off in a big way, but if Tomato gets caught out, could bite them in the bum as well. So we'll have to see if he does manage to maximize this eventual Divine pickup that he is queuing up, and whether or not NoPing can punish that. But they have to be careful about their aggression. You don't want to force these fights out while your hero's down. They just run down mid and expect to go out unpunished, not respecting the power Undying has on hand, and that does put them on the back foot now. NoPing need to try and save up. You're seeing the Lincolns being queued up here by HFN. That should help him out against that static link. Not much to really break that single target block as well. So you should be able to start to survive a little bit more there once that's up. But it's time to go back to the drawing board and try to farm up a bit more. It's just that now the farm war between the Medusa and Alchemist is not looking too favorable for HFN.
Not for now, it's not. Looks a bit worse now, as well as you've got the Aghanim Scepter on Brile. We'll see Tomato buys out the Divine straight away, or whether he okay, he does. I mean, I guess there's not really much of a point in saving for buyback if you lose the Divine up against a Medusa. They are going to smoke up. Try and make this work right here, right now. I doubt there's going to be many buybacks on NoPing, and there isn't. There's only one on Dark Mago, and they are going to roll in. They'd love to get Matthew, but instead they found the Medusa. But the stun is there on Tomato. He's going to try now with the Unstable Concoction and Chemical Rage, jumping in, ripping them to shreds. They did not expect the Divine Rapier. Dark Mago's trying to one, but they have the Spider Legs on the Alk as well. The roll is there. Moon Meander connecting perfectly. They'll find everybody. Full team wipeout for Undying, and I love it. They weren't expecting a Divine out. Undying, they're going for a tier 4 now, and they can't be stopped. It's only Dark Mago.
Oh yeah, there's no stopping this. Too much damage coming out from Tomato. Dark Mago is going to have to do something amazing here to stall this out, but this is next to impossible. Really well done from Undying.
Yeah.
No way.
Honestly, like, it is a great kind of thing, right? You go for the Divine Rapier pickup, smoke up straight away. They have no idea. And why would you pick up a Divine anyway in the first place? Like, you've got a Butterfly on the Medusa, but it's not that often that you see an Alk just goes, you know, I'm just going to buy a Divine Rapier even though we are in the lead. But he just does, and obviously he catches them by surprise, and it works out very nicely for Undying. That'll make it a tied series though, John. 1-1, so both teams ending up in a tie. And I'd say both teams performed very well.
That they did. That does mean Undying is pretty much secured as #1 of their group, so they do get to ride into playoffs as top seed. Very well played from them. NoPing, unfortunately, going to stay probably in that #2 spot. Really having a great game 1. Sort of holding out in game 2. They had a lot of good moments, but it just went a bit too slow. They went too aggressive and got punished. So very well played from Undying, but we do have a lot more series lined up here today, Mike.
That we do, John. We're going to move on to our second series of the day, and I believe that is going to be between SG Esports and 4Zoomers. That should be quite an interesting one. SG Esports has been looking pretty good recently. 4Zoomers, a bit up and down, but let's see how they're feeling today and whether they can take this series off SG Esports. I think it should be another pretty close one, if I'm completely honest, John. I mean, the 4Zoomers are actually on top in the group, so excuse me. They are going to be looking to be the favorites here up against SG Esports. We'll see how it pans out, John. For now, it's MLP Johnxfire, and we'll be back in roughly 10 to 15 minutes for our second series of the day.